Hello, everybody. Welcome back for the final time to Members Talk Live. This is indeed the finale of the show. This is the final show of Members Talk Live. So it's a little bittersweet around here, but regardless of the feelings around that, we are still going to have a great show, a great fun time for you guys. You may have heard some casted announcements came out this past week for 5.5 hours long. They came out this past week. The Avengers Doomsday cast is here. Marvel has announced it, and we are going to put all of the cast members on a tier ranking list from the most surprising to the least surprising. It's going to be you guys, it's going to be me, it's going to be our members here. Let's do this. This is, for the final time, Members Talk Live. And I've got our channel members here today with us. T from Have You Seen That with T, the critically acclaimed YouTube channel. Have You Seen That with T? And also joining us is Michael from Michael Entity, director, writer, movie review critic. How are you doing today, gentlemen?
I'm great.
I was about to cry when you said this is the final show. I had to wipe my tears away.
Oh man, yeah, no, you guys have been here for I believe
2
you
years.
guys have been here. I have my notes here. You have been here, I think, the longest of all of our members. Michael, you joined on episode 13.
Oh,
This is
wow.
episode 61. And
Wow.
T, you've been here since episode 17.
Mm.
So the show launched in August of 2023. So we're about a year and a half, and you guys have been here for, yeah, I would say pretty much a year and consistently a year. So yeah, this is pretty wild to be at the end of the journey, but I appreciate you guys so much for being here as always, given the time that you guys have given, all of the hours that you guys have given, blocking this into your Saturday. It's meant a lot. And yeah, it's not goodbye because we're still going to collab and hang out and stuff. But as far as the show goes, yeah, this is a bittersweet kind of day. But I'm excited to get into the show with you guys. I'm excited to get into this tier ranking. Before we get into our tier ranking, T, I want to ask you first. 5.5 hours. This live stream went on with chairs for 5.5 hours. I think we lost your camera there, unless you did that intentionally.
I did not do that intentionally. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hold on.
Okay, Michael, this went on for 5.5 hours. Did you watch the stream? Were you there for it? How did you respond to this announcement, the way that Marvel laid it all out?
I kept getting notifications like every 30 minutes while I was at work, like, oh, live stream. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I would keep checking, just kept seeing chairs. And I'm like, so I already knew, like, okay, they're probably going to make a big announcement on who's coming back and whatnot. And then eventually when we saw the teaser and then we had RDJ going shh like that, I'm like, well, no reason to shush because we already know. But I was actually very excited because, like I said, I kept getting notifications every 30 minutes for the live stream. And then finally getting off of work, being able to see that, I'm like, wow, that is one hell of a way to really announce it. I can only imagine people actually sitting there for the full 5 hours.
Yeah, no, I didn't sit there for 5.5 hours. I was at work, but my work day was so slow. And luckily, I'm allowed to pop in an earbud from time to time at work. And so I just found like Christian Harloff's channel was live streaming the announcement. So I just clicked on that, put it in my pocket, and listened to it. And it was like 12 to 15 minutes in between each chair that they slowly panned across. And I just sat there and listened to them chat about stuff. And then eventually they would say what name was next. So that's how I experienced it. I listened to it for 5.5 hours straight at my work to get the full announcement, but I did not sit and watch chairs. T, did you sit and watch chairs? Did you watch this announcement?
No. So I was at work and I'm in a Discord group with a lot of movie tubers, and it just started blowing up, right? They just started going, and I kept seeing the chat as I was going between breaks because I'm an instructor, so I'm like teaching, and then I went on a break and I saw like so many messages, and I was like, all right, I don't have time for this. And then as my day was my morning was wrapping up, which luckily I get off pretty early for this last month. I was like, man, okay, Marvel is announcing the cast. Cool. So I drove home and I assumed it would be over by the time I got home, and it still was going. So I think I watched maybe the last hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of it. And it just, I mean, of course I was playing video games, like I'm doing all this other stuff, and I just had my audio on. So anytime the music played, I would just look over and see the cast as they were ingenious. At first I thought it was so dumb, but then I was like, this is ingenious because there
We're
were
still
millions
talking
of
about
people.
it. We're doing a whole
Yes,
show dedicated to it. Like,
exactly. So
yeah,
it was pretty fun.
honestly,
oh yeah, for sure.
I was with you because I was listening to John-Kamen a little bit, and he was talking about how dumb this is and stupid, and what idiot thought of this. And I was like, yeah, you're right. This is stupid. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, yesterday rolled around, and we're still talking about it. Like, if they had just dropped it in Variety, if they had just put it on Twitter, here's your cast, we would have talked about it that day, and then we would have moved on. We talked about it all day. Everyone was, I think the final number that Marvel put out was 275 million people tuned in to watch this announcement. Like, people keep talking about Marvel's dead, no one cares about Marvel. 275 people tuned in to watch Chairs.
Doesn't sound too dead to me.
Which I would say for like 80% of the thing were people we already knew was going to be in it.
yeah, no, that would have been the most disappointing thing if they would have just like rattled off known Avengers, right? Because there were definitely some surprises, and we'll get into that. But yeah, it would have been so lackluster if they just kept Brie Larson, all of these regular names who've been in all these Aquafina. If they would have like put Aquafina's name, I'd be like, all right, what are we doing here? Like,
yeah,
right.
We figured these people are going to be in there, but okay.
Well, I felt that a little bit when they panned over and said Vanessa Kirby, and I was like, just Vanessa, you're going to do this for the whole Fantastic Four? Like, oh man, it was, yeah. But you know what? I'm glad they did it because it perked up my work day. It gave me something entertaining to listen to while I was working. And yeah, it ended up being a pretty genius move because we're still talking about it. We're still talking about it. By the way, Ace must have shouted us out because we've got a bunch of people doing an Ace raid in the live chat here. So thank you everybody who came over from the Ace Avenue. He's over there streaming about, I believe, baseball. I'm not a sports guy, so I could be wrong about that. But
game 2 of the Yankee season. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely go check out the Ace Avenue for all your sports and movie entertainment. And Ace is also popping up in the chat here saying, "Sup, gentlemen, gonna miss you guys, but it's been a great ride." It really has, Ace. I'm sad you can't make it to the final show, but you've been here. I have the notes here. You've been here since episode 18. And you've been just as consistent. So thank you so much, Ace, for all that you've contributed to the show. Without further ado, guys, let's get into this tier ranking. Let's get into what they announced. So how this is going to work is I will pull it up here. We have 4 tiers. We've got from complete shock, was not expecting this. This is crazy. A little surprising, where it's like, oh, you know what it means. No duh, basically, of course they're in it. And don't really care that they're in it. We're going to go through each character one by one. We're going to give our thoughts about the character popping up in this, and then we're going to decide where we rank it, and collectively, and with help from the chat as well, we are going to place it on this tier ranking based on how we feel about their announcement. So, kicking off first, I'm going to throw it to you first, Michael. We've got the first name here, and this is not in the order that they were announced. This is just thrown randomly onto a tier list here. But Chris Hemsworth himself, Thor, who was the first chair. What are your thoughts on Thor being in this, and where do you think it should go on the ranking?
I would say no duh, because Thor is such a beloved character, and seeing him in the Avengers, I'm like, you know what, it's not really that surprising, so I'd put him in no duh. But I am excited to see him again because I wasn't the biggest fan of Love and Thunder. I know that movie definitely does have its fans, but I'm really excited to see him again. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
I'm a fan. No, dude, you know what, I'm in the minority and I get it.
Yeah, no, I know it worked for some people, it didn't work for me, but very excited to see him again, because technically the last time we saw him was a little small clip in Deadpool and Wolverine. So who knows? Maybe Thor in this movie can tell us why he was crying.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get that. Well, maybe, because you know what? We'll talk about it a little bit after, but I don't think that this is the complete cast list. But Thor, where are you placing him, and why?
So I'll definitely put him in no duh as well, because I mean, he's the bridge of the Avengers from the earlier Avengers to what we're building to be that new Avengers team. So, and he's like one of the few people who survived. I feel like Chris Hemsworth should be in like every Avengers movie until he's 90, like Hugh Jackman. Like he should do old man Thor. Like it's fine. He'll be fine. He just has the hammer and he doesn't have to do much heavy lifting. But I would love to see him just grow old as this character.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you guys there too. There was a part of me that was wondering, is he going to be in this? Because Chris Hemsworth has come out in the past recently and said, like, I'm going to be very picky about what I choose to be in from here on out. I'm semi thinking about retiring because he's got something to do with he could get early dementia. I can't quite remember what it is, but he gave that interview a couple years ago. But yeah, I'm with you. It's a no duh. It's absolutely no duh. I mean, it's Thor. He's one of the only remaining OG Avengers left around. He's a character and an actor who can get people's butts into seats. Marvel would be crazy not to have him in this Avengers film. You got to have one of the OG heavy hitters in there. It's Thor. Makes total sense to me. Moving on, and we're going to group these guys together, unlike the stream decided to do. The Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, finally coming back to Marvel Studios. Their movie comes out in July. T, you see the Fantastic Four is going to be in this movie. What are you thinking? Where should it go?
So, I mean, this is also a no duh to me because it's Doomsday. Doctor Doom and Fantastic Four are synonymous with each other. And it's not lost on me the fact that Pedro Pascal's name was right next to RDJ's name. So I think that Mr. Reed Richards is going to play a big part in this movie. At least in the first one. In Doomsday, I feel like he's going to play a big part in this movie. But the Fantastic Four has to be in it. Anything dealing with Doom, they have to be part of it.
Yeah, 100%. Michael, do you agree?
Yeah, I would say definitely in the no duh. Because originally I was going to put it in a little surprising, but then when you look at the name Avengers Doomsday, it's like, you know what? Yeah, that is kind of a no duh. It'd be kind of weird to make a movie with showing Doomsday and not even showing the Fantastic Four, nonetheless, all four of them. So yeah, I'd put him in no duh.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm putting him in no duh. If only for the fact that like a couple, like I think it was last year, they already confirmed that the Fantastic Four were going to be in Avengers Doomsday. They made this announcement. I think they made it along with when they announced Doomsday itself. So yeah, totally a no duh. But now the question is it more of a no duh than Thor or less of a no duh than Thor? I think it's more of a no duh than Thor.
Just because of the name.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, one again introduced in Phase 2. His Quantumania movie wasn't that beloved. His third outing wasn't great. I enjoyed it. I still enjoy it, but it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Not many people enjoyed it, and honestly, I think it turned a lot of fans off from Ant-Man. Like my wife has never really cared about the Ant-Man character, but I think that movie just did it a lot worse. I'm going to put Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, for me personally, I'm going to do a little surprising. I wouldn't have been surprised if they left him out because he had a pivotal role to play in Endgame for sure, but he's never really been a big player in the MCU. He's always kind of been off to the side. I could have seen him coming into Secret Wars, but I'm going to put him in a little surprising. What about you, Michael? What do you think?
So, despite the fact that I do really like Paul Rudd and the Ant-Man character, I will say, I hope I don't get a hate mail for this, but I'll put it in don't care, because even though I do enjoy the first Ant-Man film, I think it's a lot of fun. Ant-Man and the Wasp wasn't really for me, honestly, and then Quantumania was also not really for me. I feel like Ant-Man is one of those characters that, like, even though Paul Rudd's a very charismatic and he's been proven to actually portray like a lead character before, I feel like Ant-Man is one of the superheroes that works better as like a side character. I feel like a whole movie based around him, I know they work for some people. For me, they're not really any of my favorite Marvel films.
What about you, T?
So what I will say is I'm going to put this in a complete shock for a different reason. I'm completely shocked that we actually have the rest of this Avengers cast, because the Ant-Man single-handedly beat Kang, who was supposed to be the most powerful person out here. So why do we have the rest of these people? I'm in complete shock that Ant-Man is just not the only person here. He's the only Avenger we need, because it's obvious he's overpowered. He's OP, as the young kids say. And
can
he should be Doctor
single-handedly
Doom
just
by himself. He single-handedly beat Kang in a one-on-one fight. So, all joking aside, I mean, I would say Noda again. He's another Avenger. He had to be here. I feel like you have to tie in what we're trying to push forward to with a bit of the past, and he is one. He still is like Paul Rudd's still Paul Rudd. He's still a popular person, and he's somewhat of a popular Avenger too. Even though Ant-Man's not everybody's favorite, I think he still does draw, somewhat.
Okay, so because we have three different ideas here, I think I'll just tie break by jumping onto one of your guys's, and I think I'll jump onto yours, T, because I'm not on the don't care level of it. I like Paul Rudd. I smiled when I saw his name come in. Like I'm happy
with
he's
the little
there.
chair. Like that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I didn't see it. I heard about it, but yeah, that was cool that they did that. But yeah, I'll put him in no duh. I'll put him behind Thor though, because he wasn't as much of a no duh to me as I think Thor was. Here's one that might be a fun discussion. Now moving on, we've got Loki. Of course, died in Infinity War, and then a multiverse variant of him found himself on Disney Plus. I thought they wrapped up Loki's character on Disney Plus pretty well. I'll save mine for the end here, but T, we'll go to you. Where do you think Loki should go and why?
I would honestly say that was a complete shock seeing his name. I think that was the first time I really jumped oh, okay, these guys are serious, because I think I did see that one live when they announced his name, and that was really cool. I thought so. I didn't expect him to come back for Doomsday. I kind of expected him to be back for Secret Wars, because everybody's going to be in Secret Wars. It's going to be a 10-hour live stream when they announce the cast for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty shocking seeing Tom Hiddleston's name, and I mean, I'm pleasantly surprised, pleasantly shocked that he's coming back.
All right, Michael, what do you think?
I would say the same, honestly. Complete shock. I unfortunately have not finished the last couple episodes of Loki. Don't hit me. But I've heard some spoilers of exactly how they ended his character, and honestly, it is a complete shock, even for me who hasn't finished Loki yet, because you just wouldn't, even if Loki hadn't died or anything like that, you wouldn't really expect him to be in this movie, especially if Doomsday is kind of the main villain, which I mean, it's obviously named after him. So I would definitely say it's a complete shock. I don't know how they're going to intertwine Loki in this film, whether they're going to portray him as an anti-hero or as an actual villain. So I'm interested to see how they're really going to put this movie together. I mean, they did a great job with Endgame by putting all those characters in there. So very interested to see where Loki ties into this film. So same with T, I'll put it in complete shock.
All right. Well, you guys have said it, so it goes up there. I would have put it in a little surprising for me, because there was I'll try to say it without spoiling too much of the end for you, Michael, because you just said you haven't seen the show. But the way that they end his character, he kind of takes the place of Kang's spot, which I always thought there was a fan theory out there that once Jonathan Majors was removed from the picture, they may plop Loki into that place, which isn't saying that that's what they're doing necessarily, but I always kind of thought that theory made sense. So I was a little surprised when he popped up. I was like, oh, okay, Tom Hiddleston. Wasn't quite expecting that, but that's kind of cool. But you guys have both agreed, complete shock. So that is where he lands. All right. Next one up, Michael, we'll start with you on this one. Patrick Stewart, he's back. Xavier, what's this? He's died 3 times, I think. So this is his third resurrection, is it?
It is.
At this point.
This, I think I'm probably going to say this for most of the X-Men. This was a complete shock. I don't know about anybody else, but I mean, obviously we got to see him a little bit of multiverse and madness, which was cool, but I think this is really a complete shock. I'm very curious how they're going to link the X-Men in this movie, because I mean, this is just reaching at this point. I mean, you got Fantastic Four coming, of course. Now you got the X-Men, and not only are they picking the X-Men, but people that we haven't seen in movies since I mean, other than Logan, when was the last time we saw Professor X? Was that X-Men 3 or which one?
Multiverse of
Days of
Madness.
Future Past. Days of Future Past was the
Was
last
it Days
time
of
like
Future Past?
that was the proper Multiverse of Madness. We're not going to speak of Multiverse of Madness. We're not going to talk about Professor X showing up in that one. But the X-Men, like some of the OG X-Men, and we'll get into it. But yeah, it was Days of Future Past. That's probably the last time we saw the majority of the OG X-Men.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's a complete shock, but I'm happy to see the man back in the wheelchair.
All right, T, what do you think? Patrick Stewart pops up. What were you thinking?
So it was kind of spoiled because they gave Kelsey Grammer's name quite a bit before that. So when I saw Kelsey Grammer's name, I was like, all right, they're bringing in X-Men. So when his name popped up, it was a little surprising. So it wasn't a complete shock to me because they had kind of teased Kelsey Grammer, who was an OG X-Men, and you wouldn't just have him. That would be disappointing if it was just Beast as like the only OG X-Men in there. So I would say a little surprising for Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, T. I was in a little surprising, a little bit of a different reason because we've already had him, like I mentioned, in Multiverse of Madness, even though Wanda snapped his neck in Multiverse of Madness. We'll get to his name, but when Kelsey Grammer first popped up and then it was like Patrick Stewart, I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes kind of sense because those are characters that were involved in the Multiverse Saga. This is wrapping up the Multiverse Saga. We already saw Patrick Stewart in the Multiverse Saga, so I guess it makes sense that Patrick. Like, I was still like, oh wow, Patrick Stewart, but I'm with you. It was a little surprising. It wasn't complete shock, but a name that popped up that has not been a part of the Multiverse Saga up until this point. Ian McKellen is coming back as Magneto. I'm going to start this one off. I was in complete shock. About that. I won't put it up there yet. I was in complete shock about it because, like I said, Kelsey Grammer been a part of the Multiverse Saga. Patrick Stewart been a part of the Multiverse Saga. But Ian McKellen's been nowhere to be seen. I haven't heard any rumors about him coming back. I haven't heard any rumors. Maybe I'm just like not looking in the right spots, but I haven't heard any rumors about him talking with Marvel. So I was pretty surprised when his name popped up, and I was also very, very happy. Michael, Ian McKellen, Magneto, what are you thinking?
Well, you know what? Since this is going to be a long stream, I'm going to shorten it. I am actually going to put complete shock for all the X-Men. I will put that there for right now. I mean, obviously seeing Magneto, got Nightcrawler, Mystique, Cyclops, and we'll get all into those in a second, but I'll put them all in a complete shock, but I would put Ian McKellen as number 1 for my complete shock.
Number 1?
Did not expect that at all. I mean, the last time he's ever gotten mentioned was in Deadpool and Wolverine. Please let it be Magneto. Please let it be Magneto. And Deadpool, of course, was pissed that Magneto was not there. But now he's here. And I'm very happy. I like Michael Fassbender a lot. But Ian frickin' McKellen, I mean, how could anybody, even if you're not a superhero fan, people would be shocked by that.
What
do you agree, T? Complete shock, or are you going somewhere else?
Oh yeah, that he was a complete shock because he's really old. That's probably the only reason. Like him and Patrick Stewart, like
he's
Patrick
still alive.
Stewart,
That's shocking.
No, it's not that he's still alive, but I mean, like he's up there. He's not as out there as like Patrick Stewart has been really active the last few years with Picard and in his like he's kind of kept himself in the Marvel sphere because he does things like the Multiverse of Madness, whereas Ian McKellen hasn't. And no knock on him. I mean, because like he's really old. So I just that was a shock, a pleasant surprise, because I mean, once again, everybody deserves better than X-Men: The Last Stand. So like he deserves to have a better send-off than no, I think he was in Days of Future Past as well, if I'm not mistaken. So and that was probably the last good X-Men movie other than Logan.
Oh my god, The Juggernaut scene in X-Men 3 is perfect, T. I'm the Juggernaut.
It's honestly great. Yeah, I'm with you. Complete shock. So is it more of a complete shock than Loki or less?
Oh, more.
I would say less. I would say less because
I gotta put the tiebreaker. I'm gonna say it was more. I'm gonna say it was more for me. Because, like I said, Loki was a little surprising to me. But, yeah, Ian McKellen, part of the cast of Doomsday, was not expecting that at all. I guess, Michael, you've already made your stance on these ones, so T and I will just power through them. Alan Cumming is coming back as freaking Nightcrawler.
That makes me happy.
Was X2 the last time we saw him? He wasn't in X3, was he? I can't remember if he was in. I just remember the White House takedown that he did at the beginning of X2 and his character playing a role in X2. But that completely, my jaw dropped. My jaw dropped when they said Alan Cumming, Nightcrawler was coming. So yeah, I saw no wind of this. I had no expectation of ever seeing this in, well, his lifetime, my lifetime. Michael, you've already agreed complete shock. I'm going complete shock. T, how are you feeling about Alan coming back as Nightcrawler?
I'll be totally honest. I don't care. Like he's like
one character.
Okay. I don't care. I truly believe that he might last 2 minutes on screen. He's gonna die a glorious hero's death, and that's okay. But I don't care.
He could literally pop up and then vanish, and we just don't see him again.
It might be like what they did in Deadpool and Wolverine, where Tyler Mane came back to play Sabretooth, and everyone's like, Tyler Mane's back, and then obviously everyone saw Deadpool and Wolverine. We know what happened.
Yeah. All right. But Michael and I were on complete shock. So where do we put it, Michael?
Maybe a little surprising.
Little surprising?
To kind of
more or less than Patrick Stewart.
I would say more, because like, even though it was still pretty shocking for Patrick Stewart, Nightcrawler we haven't seen in a while. I don't think anybody would have ever thought of that in their top 10 list on who would come back.
Yeah, no, I wasn't expecting him to end up in this tier, but there you have it. He's at the top of the little surprising tier. Moving on to more X-Men. Mystique, not Jennifer Lawrence, though. Rebecca Romijn is coming back as Mystique. T, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about Rebecca Romijn coming back?
I would say that's a complete shock. I would have assumed they would try to gotten J-Law, but I mean, this budget probably is already at like $500 million, so they couldn't afford J-Law. They couldn't afford J-Law for a small cameo, because I don't think Mystique's gonna play a big part. I don't know if she's gonna like instantly die, but I don't think she's gonna play a big part in the story. But it's cool to see Rebecca Romijn back in the paint.
I don't think we've seen her in a long time.
No, you haven't.
Wasn't her last one Last Stand, X3?
Yeah, X3.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, T.
I'll say, I just put her in a complete shock. I think that's cool that she's coming back, and I didn't have that on my bingo card.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. Complete shock. And I'm going to put her at the top of the list because if they were going to bring back Mystique, I would have been completely shocked if it was Jennifer Lawrence. But the fact that it's her, I never would have predicted that Rebecca Romijn would come back. So are we in agreement? Do you think she's at the top of the complete shock list?
I could say so.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. All right. There we go. Here's one I was happy to find out about. James Marsden. Cyclops is coming back. I'm with Michael again. This is where I was starting to get a little bit like, oh, I'm expecting some more X-Men to come up, but I was still, you know what? Because this was later after Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, and all that stuff. I will put him in a little surprising. Actually, I'll put him in a little surprising for me because at this point I was kind of like starting to expect a Jean Grey, a Hugh Jackman to kind of pop up after these Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen names. So I'm going to go with a little surprising just because of when it came in on the announcement. T, what do you think?
I would go with a little surprising too, where he was. If he would have gotten named before Kelsey Grammer, I think that would have been a complete shock.
Yeah.
I think he should have been named before Kelsey Grammer. Like, I think that would have really captivated the audience, because like everybody knows that Cyclops got such a bad rap, man. And James Marsden did not get a fair shake in those X-Men movies. So I'm glad to see he's back. Like, one of my favorite parts of Deadpool and Wolverine was the ending when they showed like all of the clips of the Fox verse, and just seeing him up there, I was like, man, what could have been? Like he's done some really great things since then. This year, Paradise, which is one of my favorite TV shows of all time.
Oh, dude, it was so good. And he was so
fantastic
good in
in
it.
that.
What
Yes.
what streaming? I don't think I've heard of that. What streaming is it on?
Disney
Hulu.
Plus. Well, Disney Plus in
Disney
Canada,
Plus
but
or Hulu. Yeah, it's a really good show. But
Check it out.
yeah, I'm really glad to see him coming back and Cyclops getting his like a lot of those characters in Deadpool and Wolverine got their redemption arc and getting him to get a chance to see his redemption arc. I think he'll make it to Secret Wars. I don't think a lot of other X-Men will, but I think he will.
all right. So a little surprising, both T and I agree with. So
Mhm.
where should we put it, guys? More surprising than Patrick Stewart, more surprising than Nightcrawler, less. If it's me, I'm sandwiching him between Patrick Stewart
I
and
agree.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Mhm.
All right. Now, here's something that even though we were getting X-Men, even though we had gotten Patrick Stewart, we'd gotten Ian McKellen, we'd gotten Rebecca Romaine, I was not prepared for Channing Tatum to come back as Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine. I honestly thought we would never see him as his character again. I thought that was just kind of a swan song for him to have his dream role come true. He was a little bit played for laughs. He was a lot actually played for laughs in Deadpool and Wolverine. They gave him some great action sequences as well, though, to kind of balance it out. But I was not expecting them to take this character seriously, if I'm being honest. This is, for me, the biggest shock of the entire announcement. Michael, what'd you think about Channing Tatum's name popping up on here?
Do you know how long I've been waiting for this?
That
I'm
was good,
happy.
man. That was good.
I I'm really happy because obviously when we all did the Deadpool and the Wolverine spoiler review, which that was actually probably my favorite live stream we've ever done together.
It was fun.
We were like going all crazy about Gambit and obviously talking about how Channing Tatum never got that movie made. Seeing him in Deadpool and Wolverine was cool. You know, it was just a little funny thing that they put in the film. I don't know. I mean, especially since we already have all these characters, I don't know what Gambit is gonna do. I really hope that he's not just the comedic relief, because even though I loved all the jokes in Deadpool and Wolverine, I would really love to see him as far as like actually getting into the story. Which again, there's so many characters. I don't know exactly how he's gonna be placed in there, but still a complete shock. And I'm very, very excited to see Mr. Remy LeBeau, but you can call him the Gambit.
Man, dude, that's good. T, are you in agreement? Complete shock, or were you expecting this?
So that definitely was a complete shock. But see, I of the opposite. I would love for him to be comic relief. So my idea, my dream pitch would be for them to like show old X-Men clips of like the X-Men movies. And he just be
And
like
he's
placed in
inserted
there.
in it.
Yeah, yes, because he's not part of Foxverse, but like he's just inserted in random X-Men missions, like because that's funny to me. Like everything he did in Deadpool and Wolverine was hilarious to me, and I love him as the comic like so. Channing Tatum is so self-aware and he's so self-deprecating. He would do all those things and make all the jokes to make fun of himself. But I would be here for that. Like it doesn't have to be long, just thrown in news clips of him like showing up in different X-Men events.
That would be interesting.
That would make me laugh. So.
Maybe actually replace him in X-Men Origins Wolverine, or get rid of Taylor Kitsch and just have him in there.
Exactly. Like that would be so funny, man.
That would be great. Maybe in a Deadpool movie they would do. I don't know if they do that in an Avengers film, but I love that idea. Yeah, so we're all in agreement then. Complete shock. What do you guys think? It's got to be the most, right?
It is absolutely the most.
Yeah. Gonna go in the most? Why isn't it moving? There we go. All right. There we go. All right, now we move on to Captain America, Anthony Mackie. We'll start with you, T. What do you think about Anthony Mackie's Captain America being in here? I think we'll probably all be in agreement on this one.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer. It's a no-duh for me because I mean he's the leader of the Avengers. He set himself up after Brave New World to be the leader of that team, and he's going to be the one who assembles him or assembles them to defeat this threat of Dr. Doom.
Yeah, I think so too. Michael,
I can agree.
What do you think?
Oh, absolutely agree. I mean, Brave New World, wasn't for me, but Anthony Mackie was great, and yeah, T's right. They definitely set it up that way. So it's definitely a no dub for me, no brainer.
Yeah, probably the top. Would you guys say probably the
I,
Yeah.
top of the no duh?
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, I think so too. All right, Congressman Bucky Barnes. We're gonna see. We're gonna actually get to a string of Thunderbolts here now, but yeah, he's gonna be coming up in Thunderbolts this next month, or it's still March. So in May, he's gonna be in Thunderbolts. Um, he is kind of another one where I kind of say no duh. I mean, it's Bucky. He's been a part of the Avengers films since Infinity War, and he's been a major player in these films ever since Infinity War. So yeah, I wasn't surprised that he's coming back in here. But I mean, there is also that mystery of like which Thunderbolts are going to make it out. I mean, the mystery is kind of out the window now. But Michael, what do you think? Congressman Barnes, Bucky Barnes, where should he go?
I would definitely say no duh as well. That's how I would put it because I never saw Falcon and Winter Soldier. I don't know if I missed. You guys can tell me if I'm missing out, honestly. But I'm really not surprised that he wouldn't be in there. But I'm very excited to see Thunderbolts. I really, really hope that's the movie that restores my faith in the MCU, which Deadpool and Wolverine kind of already did. But very, very excited. So I would definitely put Sebastian. I would definitely put Sebastian Stan in no duh.
All right, what do you think, T? You with us?
I actually would put him in all of the Thunderbolts, and a little surprising because I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
gonna lie. I assume they're all gonna. I assume they're all gonna die at the end of
They're all gonna
Thunderbolts.
die.
Like it.
They pull a Rogue One on us.
No, if you okay, so I'm not spoiling anything because we've seen different trailers now. They're going up against the Sentry, aka he who will not be named. They're no match for the Sentry. There's absolutely like there's nobody on this list who's a match for the Sentry. If you know anything about Marvel comics, the
Well, he's like
Sentry
Marvel's
is
Superman, right?
no, he's like Marvel's most powerful thing ever. Like he can do anything you could think of, he can probably do it in the most OP way, as the young kids say. Like, so they should not beat him. They shouldn't have a chance against him. They should literally die instantly the second they're up against him. They won't, because then it wouldn't be any fun movie. But I'm a little surprised they're all making. I assumed they would be in Secret Wars due to comic book telling them things, but I didn't expect them to be in Doomsday.
Okay, so it sounds like we're gonna throw Congress Barnes at the end of the no duh category to balance it out. All right, Ghost. T, kick us off with Ghost. How are you feeling about Ghost, and where should she land?
Another Thunderbolt who oddly enough, there is a Thunderbolt who's not any, and they're not even in the last trailer. Like they've just erased Taskmaster from every like
Yeah, they're not even hiding
Thank
it.
God.
like that's I could say the same thing about Ghost. Like they're two characters who they're gonna be there. Like I would have much like I don't know how to say her last name, but I'm a fan of Olga something. I don't want to butcher her last name. The woman who played Taskmaster, she's a pretty solid actress. So Ghost, I mean, little surprising. Once again, I assume she's gonna die for sure. I thought she would be one of the Thunderbolts who died.
Michael, what do you think? Ghost.
I would say this for the rest of the Thunderbolts as well. I would put it in a little surprising. I haven't really been keeping up with like the Thunderbolts, even though I am excited for it. I haven't really been paying attention to like what the story's going to be. So I'm not exactly sure what their end's going to be like in Thunderbolts, but for the rest of the Thunderbolts, I would say a little surprising.
All right. Yeah, I'm with you. I was a little bit more than a little surprised, just because Ghost, she popped up in Ant-Man and the Wasp. She's been MIA for the like ever since 2018, I guess that was. And now
Yep.
it's like 2025, she's finally coming back in the Thunderbolts. I've always enjoyed this character. I liked her in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I always wanted to see more of her. I think her backstory is really interesting and tragic, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does in Thunderbolts. But I was not expecting her in Doomsday. I just wasn't, like, at all. Not that I was expecting her to die in Thunderbolts necessarily, but this was like really close to a complete shock to me. That we'll balance it out. We'll put it in a little surprising. Where do you guys think she should go? I'm thinking in front of Patrick Stewart, maybe behind James Marsden. What do you think, T?
That works.
I'd say so. Yep.
All right, perfect. There we go. Another Thunderbolt, Yelena. Michael, you've already said a little surprising for Yelena. T, do you agree with that? Maybe a little surprising, or
Yeah, same for all of the Thunderbolts. Like,
Yeah.
I once again assumed they'll be back for Secret Wars, but I didn't think they'll be there for Doomsday.
All right. So where should we put Yelena on a little surprising? Maybe at the tail end here.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
anyone was going to come, it was probably going to be her.
For sure. Yeah, if any Thunderbolt will show up, it'd be her and Sebastian Stan.
Yeah. Wyatt Russell's a little bit interesting to me because, U.S. Agent is, I believe, if I'm not wrong here, he's the only. Nope, Danny Ramirez is on here. I was going to say he's the only one from Disney Plus show to transfer over to the movies and be in the Avengers film. But that's not true. So we'll move on from that part. But I was still. I was a little surprised. I'm with you guys too that he was going to be in here. I don't expect him to have like a huge role. Where should we place him on the little surprising row?
I'd say like behind Yelena.
Yeah.
Behind?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, all of the Thunderbolts. To me, they're all interchangeable at this point.
Yeah.
They're people who punch people in the face and shoot them.
I hope he redeems himself after doing night. I hope Wyatt redeems himself after doing that atrocity night swim.
Oh, I forgot about that movie, dude.
Everybody.
All right. Well, we'll throw Red Guardian up in here as well. What do you guys think? Is he the least little surprising? Somewhere in the middle?
I'd say maybe in between Florence Pugh and Wyatt Russell, maybe.
Yeah, right there.
I could agree with that.
All right, perfect. There he is. This is one that actually I'm a little bit more than a little surprised about. Lewis Pullman, who is playing Sentry in Thunderbolts. Again, a little bit of a spoilerish reveal here where they're kind of setting it up to look like Sentry is the villain that the Thunderbolts are going up against in Thunderbolts. Whether this means that the character has a change of heart and ends up being a hero and joins the Thunderbolts, whether this means he just lives and he joins Doom as a villain, whatever it's going to be, we know that this villain isn't going to die. The Thunderbolts may not defeat him. I was a little, not a complete shock, but I was definitely a little surprised to see that he was going to be in here. I guess you guys agree that it's a little surprising.
Definitely.
I would actually put this in a complete shock because of the character himself. I didn't think he would be. Even though the Thunderbolts were going to be in there, I didn't think he would be in there. So yeah, I would actually put him in a complete shock.
Okay, because I could go back and forth, I will actually jump on you with complete shocked as well. Where do you think we should place him, T? Where do you think he's more?
He'll be at the end. Yeah,
at the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right, there we go. All right, moving on from Thunderbolts, we've got Letitia Wright, our current Black Panther, popping up on here. T, what do you think? Letitia Wright, coming off of Wakanda Forever. Honestly, haven't heard from her in quite some time, and haven't really heard about Shuri in the MCU for quite some time. How are you feeling about her popping up in Doomsday?
So she's a little surprising to me, only because, like you said, it's like with a lot of these characters, though, they've been radio silent since their movie. They make a movie, and then, I mean, there's no tie-ins anymore between a lot of these films, whereas before they would be like post-credit scenes where somehow two characters might meet each other, or there'll be a cameo like in Brave New World. But Shuri's kind of been MIA. But I said this on Ace's live stream when we talked about it. There's a lot of the Illuminati in this movie, and that's like, I know nothing about the plot of this movie. I don't watch spoilers. I don't look at dirt sheets. I don't look for any type of spoilers. But like as we look at this cast, they've pretty much formed the Illuminati in this movie, which I find to be pretty interesting. So her being in the movie, because she's the Black Panther, she would be the servant Black Panther in that group, and I just find that a little surprising.
All right, Michael, what do you think?
I could definitely agree with T. Honestly, I think he said it the best. I would say a little surprising for her character. I actually did not see the entirety of Wakanda Forever. I probably should. I need to go on another Marvel marathon one of these days. But I would definitely put her in a little surprising as well.
All right, I will. I'll agree. A little surprising. She's on the tail end of no duh for me. Because it's like, you got to have the Black Panther representation in there, and she is the current Black Panther, so it kind of makes sense that she would be.
I could see that
there. So, what do we think? Tail end, a little surprising.
Yeah. I mean, that's really close to a no dub, but because we just haven't heard anything from Shuri, and everybody keeps talking about recasting T'Challa. That's been everything. All everybody can talk about, and everybody seems to forget that Shuri exists.
Yeah. It's true. Kelsey Grammer. Michael, if I remember correctly, you're complete shock for all the X-Men. Is that including Kelsey Grammer?
That was a complete shock. Not just because I was completely shocked for the X-Men to come back, but I was really, really shocked for Kelsey Grammer because he has been kind of out of like the Hollywood movie industry. He's been doing a lot of very low-key indie films. And obviously, like there was that one point where they did a reboot, or not a reboot, but like a reunion of Kramer of the show that he was on. But he's been doing a lot of small movies. Like I saw him in a movie about a year or two ago called Jesus Revolution. So he's been kind of like under the radar when it comes to big budget movies. So seeing Kelsey Grammer come back, that is actually a big shock for me. I would say I would honestly put him in between Mystique and Gambit, because Kelsey Grammer, that was just like wow. Like that blew my mind, because Kelsey has even said in many interviews he feels more comfortable doing a lot of smaller movies. So seeing him in a big budget movie like this, nonetheless an Avengers film, that surprises me, but it also makes me happy.
T, do you agree? Is he going in complete shock? Because I've already talked about how I found him a little surprising. He was at the end of the Marvels. He's tied in with the multiverse saga. So I'm throwing him in a little surprising myself. But T, where would you place him?
When I saw his name on the chairs, that was a complete shock for me. But then it made sense because of the Marvels. I think that's how, like, that's the tie. Like the Marvels, her going through Monica Rambeau, going through whatever portal she went through that put her pretty much in a different universe. That's the tie where you get all the X-Men, which is why all of them were in a complete shock to me. But when his name first showed up on the chairs, because he was the first X-Men, like he was the first domino that fell in the X-Men, it was a complete shock. But I could also see how it's a little surprising because of the Marvels.
All right, so what are you thinking we should put him in, T? Because you're on the fence of complete shock and a little surprising, so you're the tiebreaker here. Where should he go?
I mean, we could put him in a complete shock because of where his name came, but he would be at the end.
At the end? All right. Mm-hmm. I can agree with that. I mean, he's already, like we said, he's got connections. He's already tied in. So, yep, complete shock near the tail end there.
Gee, I wonder what this.
All right, hey guys, guess what? Doomsday, where they announced that Dr. Doom is going to be played by Robert Downey Jr. At Comic-Con on stage, and Robert Downey Jr. reveals his face. Guess what? They've got Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. So it's just a no duh, right?
Yeah. One thing I'm actually curious on, and I haven't really been paying attention to what they've been saying about what they're going to do with the Doomsday character. Are they going to do something to change RDJ's face? Because it is going to be weird to see somebody with the Tony Stark face as Doom, or are they just going to have him in his mask throughout the whole film? Like, how are they going to do that? That's what I want to know.
We're going to have to wait until 2026 to find out. We don't know. Like
they paid him. They paid him like what, $80 million to do this. I'm sure
you're going to see his face. Yeah, we're going to see his face. Like, you might not see the mask more than you'll see RDJ's face. He wants to be seen. Like
I just hope
Interesting.
I just hope they don't do like nanotech or like Doom's mask goes up and down like the Iron Man mask, you know,
Yep.
like totally replicate how he would like open his mask and then shut. Like I don't want them to do that.
Yeah, just to remind people that he played as Iron Man. No.
Yeah, it's too close, right? Too close to his previous character. All right, that brings us to Namor coming back from Wakanda Forever. T, I'm just gonna start with you on this one. Namor, what do you think about him coming back?
I was definitely in complete shock. I shouldn't have been in shock because I mean he makes sense. He's a heavy hitter, and I would want him on our team. So I'm in complete shock that he's actually coming back for this. Personal issues set aside, I'm still in complete shock that he's coming back.
Fair, yeah. Michael, what do you think?
Well,
Namor?
like I said, I didn't finish Wakanda Forever, but from what I saw him in, I would put him in Little Surprising, honestly. I'm not exactly sure how his character ended up towards the end. I definitely got to rewatch that. But from the time that I saw him, and the little bit of information I have on him, I would put him in Little Surprising.
Me personally, I thought the actor was fine in the role. I don't care. Personally, I would put him in the don't care category. I just didn't really resonate or find his character that compelling to the point where I'm like excited to see him again. But for the sake of our tier list, I will jump on to T's A Little Surprising because I wasn't expecting him to be in it. Like, I haven't honestly thought about this character since Wakanda Forever. So I would put him,
or maybe
maybe a little. I would probably put him honestly behind Ghost. What do you think?
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's where I would put him.
Namor is like really important in the Marvel MCU. Like, I mean, in the actual Marvel comics. Like, so him being there makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, like MCU hasn't really done him justice because he wasn't done justice in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, that's fair. Michael, kick us off. Downey Ramirez, our new Falcon, made his debut in Falcon Winter Soldier, moved on over to Brave New World, which you haven't seen Falcon Winter Soldier, but you saw Brave New World.
I did.
What are you thinking about Downey Ramirez's Falcon popping up in here?
Oh, it's a no duh. It's an absolute no duh for me, honestly. I actually really, even though like Brave New World, I didn't love, I really did like the character. I really, really did. So seeing him and then like seeing how him and Anthony Mackie interact, I thought they had great chemistry for what it was that we got to see in it. So yeah, it's definitely a no duh for me. I would probably put him behind Anthony Mackie, but I guess we'll see when it comes to the rest of you guys.
Yeah, well, I'll just say for me, I don't care. I don't care. I don't even like really remember his character in Falcon Winter Soldier, and I didn't resonate with his comic relief as much as some people did in Brave New World. At times I thought he was a little annoying, to be honest. So his character can still grow on me. I'm not opposed to his character being in here. I just don't really care that he's in here. T, what do you think?
I think it was a no-brainer that he was going to be in there. He is Captain America's sidekick now, so he definitely has a place in there. And they set it up in Brave New World for him, like, because he sustained those injuries, and it'll make them a better team moving into the Avengers movie. So I assumed he would definitely be in this.
Okay, so we're putting him in the no duh category. Where would you guys place him then? It sounds like you guys would probably go either in between Thor and Fantastic Four or Captain America and Fantastic Four. Am I correct in that? Where do you guys think?
I would say either one honestly would work.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll put him next. We'll put him side by side with his partner there. We'll put him next to Captain America. All right. Hey guys, look who's back. It's Simu, Shang-Chi. Where's he been? He's been MIA for a while.
In one movie.
Yeah, one movie. Which I mean, kick us off, Michael. What do you think? Simu coming back to Shang-Chi.
Even though it was just one movie, I would probably have to say no duh, because they were kind of like, planning on for him to be in the Avengers when the movie was released, and there were like hints that like, oh yeah, he's definitely going to be a part of the Avengers. So I would put him in no duh, but I would still put him all the way at the end, in my personal opinion.
What do you think, D?
I would put him in a little surprising, right next to Shuri, because he had this movie kind of like she had Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and we just haven't heard anything. Like there's no mention of them in like Daredevil or Falcon and Winter Soldier. None of the MCU shows where you would think you would just have like a name drop or something. We just haven't
Yeah,
heard anything. But at the same time, like he has to be an Avengers movie because he is going to be an Avenger moving forward.
yeah. I think I'm kind of feeling the same way as Michael. I think I'm feeling like a no duh. I mean, he had to come back, right? He had to come back at some point. Makes sense that if you're not going to do a sequel, you put him in the Avengers film. I wish they had built him up more before we got him in the Avengers film, but yeah, he's a no duh. I'd
It
probably put him above Bucky.
it blew my mind because Legend of the Ten Rings, I actually thought was one of the better entries in the new MCU. I thought it was actually really good, but since it came out during COVID, if I'm not mistaken, right? Didn't it?
Yes, it did. Yeah.
Okay, so unfortunately, because of that, like it didn't really get as much attention as Marvel was hoping it would. But I thought that and Guardians 3, were probably the two best ones in the MCU currently right now. But maybe I'm the minority on that one.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, I don't love his movie as much as a lot of people do, but I enjoy it quite a bit. The action in it is great. I love the choreography, and I kind of wish they'd done more a little bit more with his character in his solo movie because he was just I feel like he got overshadowed by the ensemble of it all.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
No Aquafina announced for this, so maybe he does get his chance to shine a bit more. And our last guy, Winston Duke M'Baku, is coming back. How are we feeling about this? What do you think, T? I'll start with you. What do you think? M'Baku's coming back. Where should he land
Uh,
up on this tier ranking?
I would say like his name being one of the chairs is a shock, but at the same time, it's a little surprising. Like, because I would put once again, I'll put him right next to Shuri because
Yeah,
we haven't seen or heard from him since Wakanda Forever. But he is a big part of that franchise, and I hope that they play him up to be that, where he is kind of Shuri's confidant, and hopefully we get Danae Guerrera. I think that's how you say her name. Back is a part of the Dora Milaje, and I'm assuming we will. I think that they'll be a part of it. You can't have the Black Panther and not have the Dora Milaje right next to him.
yeah. No, that's true. Michael, what do you think? M'Baku, where
Uh,
should he go?
I would put him in a little surprising right next, all the way at the end. I mean, last time we saw him, was he in Wakanda Forever? I can't remember. Like I said, I
Yes,
didn't
he
get to
was.
finish it. He
Yeah.
was okay. Okay. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to rewatch that again, but and finish it actually. But no, I would definitely same exact thing as the other characters from Wakanda Forever. I would put him in a little surprising.
All right. I guess we're in agreement. He's a little surprising. I would say he's a little bit more than Shuri because I expected, you know, Black Panther to be there, but he's such a minor supporting role in the Black Panther films that I wasn't expecting them to maybe bring him back into the Avengers. But I'm sure he'll probably have like a small role in that too. So, a little bit surprising, more than Shuri, but not by much. And there it is, guys. That's the cast. That's what we've got. And from the look at our tier list, I mean, there was some fun surprises in there for us. Like it looks like it was pretty balanced out. Obviously, though, there's a lot of names here that we expected that should be in the no duh, but aren't in the no duh, and thus they're probably in the complete shock of not being included in the Avengers cast. Michael, really quickly, a couple names that come to mind that did not appear on this Doomsday cast list.
Hmm. Well, I wouldn't put Chris Evans. No, his story was already completely finished out. At the top of my head,
I'll give you one.
okay.
Spider-Man.
Oh, is he going to be in Secret Wars? Did they say something about he was
They
going to be in
haven't
Secret
announced the
Wars?
cast for Secret Wars. I mean,
They
I would
have not.
expect he would be. I expect every single person that ever stepped foot on a Marvel set to be in Secret Wars.
Yeah, definitely. We got him. Hawkeye was I didn't finish the Hawkeye series. I only saw the first episode. So
Yeah, no, Jeremy
say
Renner.
would you guys say that was surprising that he wasn't in there?
Nah, like because he's retired. Like he retired at the end of Hawkeye.
I would
Kind
have
of
expected
to
him.
be a family man.
Obviously wouldn't expect Black Widow because she spoilers. We already know what happened. But then again, if Loki's in the film, then why not Black Widow too? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think they've kind of already covered mostly what we would expect. Of course, obviously, Iron Man's not going to come back. Thor would, of course, come back. Chris Evans is not going to come back, of course, because you know. Does anybody understand what he was doing to the budget? Like we already know. We already know all that. So no, I think it's hard to think at the top of my head, but I think as of right now, I can't really think of anything like that's really grabbing me that I'm like genuinely shocked that wasn't in the cast, but maybe in a little bit it might come back to me.
T, was there any names that were not included in this cast list that you were kind of shocked were not, that you were expecting?
So I really expected Brie Larson to be in this cast list.
Yeah, the Marvels.
Her and Miss Marvel. Like it's disappointing. That's what I will say. It's disappointing what they've done to that character for whatever reason. For many reasons, I would say the treatment of the Miss Marvel character or the Captain Marvel character. But this will be a prime place to, once again, redemption arc to gain favor for this character. And Miss Marvel is once again, they're really spoiling. She's such a great character. She's such a great young actress too.
Yeah, she's amazing.
I think she's could
awesome.
be that Peter Parker like bridge, the young, plucky, happy to be here, fangirling out when she gets to meet Thor for the first time. Like that's a moment. And we might get that moment in Secret Wars, but I just feel like Secret Wars is going to be just a mismatch, and she might get lost in that once she does show up. But I just feel like Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel should have been, and they haven't announced everybody. I think Brie Larson, for some, and I won't say for some reason, Brie Larson is such a polarizing name that when she gets mentioned, like most Marvel fans tune out, which is sad because I think she's an excellent actress.
She is.
And yeah, people just being people. But I hope that they show up in this movie.
Well, let's just hope that if they do come back, no more musical scenes, because that musical sequence in the Marvels, I don't care if it was in the comics or not. I don't know. Don't care. It did not need to be in the Marvels.
It was a stupid little gag, but it didn't really ruin the movie for me. Dark
No.
movies are pretty. Our buddy Toby here is saying what I was thinking too. Little shocked that Monica Rambeau wasn't in this announcement, especially with Beast being there. Yeah, when I saw Kelsey Grammer's name, or when I heard it, I was expecting, oh yeah, she's gonna be here. She's not. A couple names that stick out to me as well. Don Cheadle, no War Machine.
Oh,
I thought Don Cheadle would be in here for sure. Chris Pratt, no Star-Lord. At the end of Guardians, we saw Star-Lord will return. And there's also a little bit too of the leaked concept art, or the Russos debunked it, so I don't know if it's actually leaked or not. They might just be trying to save their butts, but they've said it's not true. But in that, I was expecting like maybe Amon Villani as Miss Marvel. I was expecting Mark Ruffalo to pop up in here as Hulk. Like he's a mainstay of the MCU.
Not think of that?
Yeah, I don't know where. Like I was surprised Mark Ruffalo didn't pop up. I was surprised a little bit, but not entirely, that Tatiana Maslany wasn't here, because again, the concept art kind of went into my brain a little bit during this announcement. But yeah, there's a lot of hitters here that are close to Tony Stark that they're obviously, I think, keeping away from Doomsday, like Don Cheadle, like Pepper Potts, like even Nick Fury. There's no Samuel L. Jackson announced in this Avengers cast. Like that was a little surprising to hear those.
That would
names
probably be the most shocking, I would say. I don't know how I'm not thinking of any of these right now. I'm ashamed.
No, I do think that they're holding them off to Secret Wars because once again, the Spider-Man and Doctor Doom moment is going to be a moment, right? That's probably gonna be the moment of that movie, is when he finally, like early in the movie, he's gonna see him and it's just gonna be a thing. Because Robert Downey Jr. looks like, if they just completely ignore the fact that he's RDJ and like, oh, that's Dr. Doom, and they look at him and they don't see Tony Stark, which would be totally ridiculous to me. Because that'll be a missed opportunity. I think they're holding them off to Secret Wars. So a lot of those names, like definitely Spider-Man, I assumed that they were going to hold them off for that deeply emotional moment, or at the very end of Doomsday, he pops in for I don't know what they're going to do with this. This is like we're in uncharted territory, so I don't really know which direction they're going to go with this movie. If we're going to have like an Infinity War moment at the end of it where Doom just rests because he just won, or we don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to get.
I'll tell you this: as soon as they announced that Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, James Marsden, those guys were added to the list, all cards like went out the table. Like I have no idea what they're doing. I have no idea. Like the fact that they announced them in this, and like they've got to have big roles, right? Like if you're gonna put them in this,
it's a multiversal saga. Like it's a multiversal saga. So they're gonna go because the Fantastic Four is on a different universe. They're in the parallel universe. So it's gonna be kind of like Infinity War, where you had different teams and different part. Like you had the team that went to space, you had the team that was fighting in Wakanda. Like it's gonna be like everybody's not gonna just be together, like coming up with a plan. It's gonna be different portions. Like I assume Doom is gonna have like a team of bad guys. Like we don't know who. It can't just be Doom, right? It can't just be one person who's just wrecking shop everywhere. Like Thanos had what did it, I don't even remember what they were called, but like
the Children of Thanos.
Yeah, whatever. That's what they were called. Okay,
or the
cool. No, those four people, Thresher, Maw, and,
right? Yeah, the Children of Thanos.
Yeah, but he had that team of bad guys who were like keeping them busy in different parts of the world. So I assume they're going to do this in different universes, or it might just be Doctor Doom in different universes because he's figured something out. He's figured something out, some way to be in 5 different multiverses at once, and he's just handing everybody their ass throughout the movie.
You know what? If they want to make me happy, which they're not going to do, they probably will never. If they're going to get all these people back, let's just for the hell of it, just sprinkle it in there, Marvel. Listen to me on this one. Let's get some Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider and some Thomas Jane Punisher, please. Come on.
I do think Secret Wars they will show up. I truly believe that.
You think
but
so?
there was one name I just remembered. There's one name. There's one person who I would love to show up in this movie and in Secret Wars. Miles Teller.
Miles Teller. All right.
Miles Teller. If you know ball, you know that there is a Reed Richards who is not the nicest person on the planet. He's perhaps he is perhaps the greatest supervillain on the planet. And if they had Miles Teller back as the evil Reed Richards, also known as the Maker, that would blow my mind. That would be so fantastic.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's fantastic.
No,
wait, say that again. It's fantastic.
Toby said say that again.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Wow. Well, guys, whatever they're doing, it's bold. It's bold for sure. But I mean, as much as I just want to stay on and just keep going, that is unfortunately got to be the end of the show. That's it. That's our tier ranking. This cast is insane. We've got a couple of comments in here. Cosmic Broadcast saying he hasn't been active much on YouTube because life is crazy, but wanted to drop in and say thank you for all you've done for this community. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much. Jonah's been here, or he was on our first episode. I actually have a list here of all of our guests. I just wanted to shout out really quickly. A big thank you to everyone who ever joined members, Talk Live, whoever supported the channel on that level. Jonah from the Cosmic Broadcast, Toby from Dark Movies, Frank from Optimistic for Ev, Kenny from Kenny Sparks, who they've all been here. They were here on episode 1. DJ from Movie Time Minute and Rio the Penguin. He was here on episode 4. Jason from Screen Zen Reviews was here on episode 5. Dakota Man Movies, episode 10. Michael Entity, been here since episode 13. Movie Reviews with Ryan Lane. Ryan Lane has been here episode 15, and he was up until like episode 55. T has been here since episode 17. Ace has been here since episode 18 from At the Ace Avenue. Zach from Zach Attack Reviews was on episode 26 and a couple others. And J Pylon was here episode 43, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who joined. Thank you to everyone who was ever a guest on the show. Thank you to everyone who watched, obviously everyone in our chat here today, and thank you to you two gentlemen, Michael and T, for just for all the support and all the shows that you've been on. Like it's never been lost on me that you guys have given me your time with this show. You guys have blocked the hour on your Saturday. You have decided that you are going to join me to talk about movies and movie news and just have a fun time talking movies on your Saturday. You could do anything else, and that's what you decided to do. You guys have supported the channel on such a incredible level, but more than that, you guys have supported me, and you guys have been great friends. And this is definitely not like goodbye. This is just a see you later. We're gonna do more in the future. I got ways to contact each and every one of you. I can't wait to do more. And just that's a wrap on this show. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Zach. I'm grateful to become a friend for you. I'm grateful that you discovered my channel. We became friends. Grateful that, we were given this opportunity to do this live show with you for almost 2 years. So thank you very much for that, man. I appreciate it.
For sure. I just want to echo that. I started my channel a little over 2 years ago, and I would get like 10 views. And there was one person who would always leave a comment, and that was you, Zach Mill. And because of you, I met a bunch of different movie tubers, and a lot of communities were created because of your kindness, because of your just generosity to the smaller channels. And we're all relatively small channels.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to do that. Like literally, like my first 10 videos, you would leave a message, hey, this good content, whatever, and nobody else would. And that matters. That mattered to me. That's why I always made sure I blocked some time off. Of course, if the schedule dictated, but this was really fun. You helped me out so much in my content through this, how to be a gracious host, how to let your audience members speak or let your co-host speak. And you just do this so well. You've been phenomenal, and I've had such a great time doing this, man. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much, T. You guys are gonna get me to cry. Oh, come on, Toby. I would never have started making films if it wasn't for you, Zach. Dude, that's too kind, man. And
it's all true.
I'm excited for that documentary you have coming out of yours, Toby. You're doing some great stuff. All right, we gotta get out of here before I start tearing up. But Ace says YouTube was made better because Zach was a part of it.
Ace, you're gonna make Zach cry, man. His whole room is gonna be filled with water now.
Oh man,
we're trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, no, you guys are doing a good job. You're getting there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. And this was Members Talk Live. We'll see you later.
See you later.